Happy Fight Song Friday, guys. What's up? Welcome into a new episode of the Bostonian versus the Book, BVB, live on our YouTube and X channels at Boston versus the Book. We're replayed on Sports Grid Television every weeknight. You late night owls, thank you for watching on a Friday, Saturday into Saturday morning. And your audio podcast is always available wherever you guys get your audio podcasts. My name is Matt Peralt. Did I say that? I don't think I did. How are you? Good to see you on this Friday. We got a bunch of things to get to. It is a Newby Friday. So Newby joins us every Friday to talk about anything and everything going on in the world, including some interesting stories involving theft and an Olympian and things we'll get into with his circa million plays and just the overall football weekend. Opening line, we will talk about last night with the Buffalo Bills looking horrific. I think I jumped the gun. Yesterday, I put the Bills into the playoffs. I'm not sure that was the smart thing to do. They got some big issues in Buffalo. We'll get to that here coming up during the opening line. It is a Fight Song Friday. We will go through all the big college football games here, playing fight songs for the games coming up later in the show. So stick around for that. And we end the show with Newby coming up at about 45 past the hour. So, yes, this is a hat that is from our guy, Daniel G. So if you're a Lions fan, I got you. No, I am not live from the track. And no, the guy who was supposed to be on the show today, Jonathan Green, who I am calling out, he was supposed to be part of the show. He agreed to come on. He is the voice of F1 here in Vegas. We will talk about this later, Addison, but there are, again, major problems going on. It is pouring. It has been raining here in Vegas, and I know they run F1 in the rain. I understand that, but now they're having problems with the street again. They're having big manhole problems like they had last year when it was like a projectile that ruined one of the Ferraris. So like we're doing it again. we're doing it again here with F1, where there are problems already coming up here with F1. So, Addison, I've conceded that F1 needs to get out of Vegas. What's funny is that there was a tweet that came out from Arash Markazi, who said he was talking to one of his friends who was on one of the F1 teams. And he said that the drivers may hate this race as much as the locals do, which is fascinating to think about that. That coming to Vegas as an F1 driver, you would think this is like a playground for them, that they get to do all sorts of cool things. Well, they're not in love with the track, and they're not in love with the way things are going, and they run it really late at night, and it's in November, so it's a different time of the year. And frankly, the weather has been awful this week, like awful. It was okay last night for the parties. I saw a bunch of social media posts about the parties here in town. So it was about 60 degrees and it was not raining last night, but it is pouring today, like downpour, unlike what we normally see. I cannot tell you, I've been in Vegas 10 years. I can't remember the last time that from Sunday to Friday, it rained every single day. Now, for you guys on the East Coast, that is very typical, right? You just get into a weather pattern and it rains. For us here in Vegas, this is not normal to get this much water, this much rain, because nobody here can drive in the rain. Nobody here can do anything rain-wise. So it's like not good. It is not good. So I do want to make one quick announcement. Corbin is in the chat, so I want to make one quick announcement because Corbin and I have been efforting going back and forth about a bunch of things. And so here is how this is going to go for we're trying to put out the BVB store before Cyber Monday. That would be the Monday after Thanksgiving. Okay, so it would be a week from this Monday for the BVB store to launch. Dave, every Christmas, Dave would give his daughters money. That was he wanted them to go buy stuff for themselves. Okay, that was what he did. So I've been talking to Jessica about launching the store, and how we're going to be doing these things for Dave. So Corbin has been designing things and sending me specs like crazy, and we have kind of settled on the back of a t-shirt. But what we're going to do is this. We're going to do a limited edition run of Dave Sharapan merch, okay? And 100% of the profits from the hats, t-shirts, and hoodies that we produce, 100% of that revenue, that profit, is going to go to the girls for their Christmas. Okay. So I think at the moment, it could be 50, it could be 100 per hat, t-shirt, hoodie. Okay. We don't know exactly the numbers. We're still working it out. We're just trying to figure out how it's all going to look. But and then we're going to take the Dave Sherapan stuff down. Okay. Because when I posted it last night and I was like, this is what's going to look like, I got a message from Jessica like immediately. And I think long term, I think it will be difficult for the girls and difficult for Jessica to have their dad's stuff as part of the BBB store. And not to say we want to turn the page, but I think for everybody's sake, I mean, it's been 2 months and it's not anywhere easier for the family. And we're about to go into the holiday period and Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. And this is when, and if you've lost a loved one, I'm sure you can understand this, that you have a gaping hole, a chair that is not filled, that never will be filled again, that causes you to have tremendous amounts of grief and reliving the loss of your dad, of your husband. So I think this is the best way of doing it. And it will be, I think, a cathartic thing for everybody involved. So the shirt looks like this. That's the back of it. So we're going to have hats that will have the BBB logo, and we'll have that. That is Dave's handwriting that Corbin has found. And that will be on the back. There will be a BBB logo on the front. And so that will be a limited edition. That'll be a set number that we're going to run with 100% of those profits going to the 3 daughters of Dave Sherapan, Kelsey, Kylie, and Kendall. So I hope that that's acceptable to you guys. I hope that you guys understand why that we're going to do this. And look, I don't know what the overall response is going to be. Like if we sell out in like 2 days, okay, then we'll probably keep going and add more. But like, we're going to do a limited run here for like a week or two. And then we're going to say, okay, like all of that money is going to go to the Sherapan family. So that short-term fundraiser type of thing for Christmas type of thing, this is just my way of saying, hey, you know, your dad did this for years. This is the tradition your dad did. What can we do to keep that tradition alive? This is how we're going to do that. So just a heads up on that. Hopefully a week from this Monday, Cyber Monday, the store will go live with those hats, those t-shirts. There'll be different sections of the store. That's going to be just, if you just want to get a generic BBB hat, we're going to have generic shirts and hats for BBB. And then there's going to be Dave Sherapan models, and all the Dave Sherapan models that we create, 100% of that profit will go. Yeah, there's no debate. there's no debate that we will do that. And yeah, we'll keep it limited edition. We'll keep it special for that. So that's what's going to happen. So keep your eyes out, keep your eyes peeled for what's going to happen with this. The hats, the shirts, the hoodies. We're doing full zip up hoodies, not pullovers. We're doing zip up hoodies. We made that call because we like zip up hoodies, but Dave loved hoodies. So be watching for that. So we're excited to go ahead and do that and to raise money, and then to hand those over. You know, obviously we'll give them hats and t-shirts, and we'll give them each hat, t-shirts, and hoodies to the girls, but then we'll also give them a check and give them money for Christmas. So that's the plan. That's the play coming up here for that. Hockey, all of that stuff. I totally get it, Addison. Like, there's like a million things that's going on. There's a million things that we want to do down the road that we will do. Like, we will do a bunch of different stuff. Like, we're going to keep it simple, stupid in the beginning, and then we'll look to grow and add more. Add hockey. I mean, I want a BBB hockey jersey. How cool would that be to have a BBB hockey jersey? It would be awesome. So these are all things Corbin has now told me, like, hey, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this. Like, he has a million ideas, but just so you know, the hats are going to be designed by Corbin. And so, you know, the quality is going to be awesome. The embroidery is going to be on point. So there isn't anybody else I wanted to do the store with. It worked out perfectly because he left his previous engagement and now he's at a company that he has more freedom to do stuff with. And it's based here in Las Vegas. So it's local. and they do international business, and they work with very large teams and companies, and they can handle everything that we ask them are going to be asking them to do, but it's local and it's direct with me and Corbin going back and forth. There's no middleman. There's no corporate office. There's nobody in some other country or some other place telling us what we can and cannot do. So all that stuff, get it done. Get it done. Who got what? Well, what happened? Who got rear-ended? Sonic, be careful with rear-wheel drive. Oh, on wet roads. Yeah, that's true. Yes. Well, everybody here in Vegas and Phoenix, and you guys got a hailstorm in Phoenix, Sonic. What was that? I saw a video of that yesterday. That's crazy. Like, there's weird weather on the West Coast right now. Really, really odd things going on. So, again, be on the lookout for it. It's going to be a week from Monday, Cyber Monday. Hopefully, the store will be up and going, and we'll have the fundraiser for Dave's kids for. And it's not because they need it, by the way. Just to be perfectly clear, this is not a fundraiser like the GoFundMe. This is different. Okay, this is just me wanting to step in and provide what their dad did for a long time, and to give them money like Dave would give them money, that we can do that. That's our contributing, making their Christmas a little bit easier. Not to say that it makes up for anything that they're going through, but I thought it would be a nice gesture knowing that Dave would do that with the girls, that we can do that for them to keep the tradition going here. And also obviously with cool hats and shirts and hoodies and cool stuff like that. So just to be perfectly clear, I hesitate to call it a fundraiser because it's not really like a fundraiser. It's not, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to call it that. This is just us raising money for them. So thank you. I appreciate that, Lights Out. Thank you for saying that. That's nice of you to do that. Yeah. Hail sounds like the average Tuesday in Nebraska. Brooke, where do you live? Or I'm assuming that's your first name. Is it Brooks or Brooke? I'm guessing it's Brooke Stevens, right? Where do you live in Nebraska? Tell me in the comment section, because I would like to know. Because that is true. I've seen some of the craziest hailstorms ever in Nebraska. Hail damage, cars that get peppered with hail, that get, like, you forget your car, you leave it out in the back, even out in a parking lot, and a hailstorm rolls through. Oh, you're in Millard. Very cool. Nice. Okay, that's awesome. Good to see you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And yeah, Corbin, it's Brigade taking care of the family. 100%. That's yes. 100%. I love that. So, oh, your name's Brooke Beringer. Look at that. Very cool. Very, very cool. Okay, that's awesome. I live downtown. I lived in the old Market Lofts is where I lived for 5 years. So Millard's an awesome community. That's a really cool community. Before we talk about Fight Song Friday and talk about the college games, let's take a step backwards. Let's talk about what happened last night. It's a combo, opening line and what happened last night. It is the opening line being presented by Huel, and the Buffalo Bills are officially in big trouble. Oh my, last night. What was that? Like that? Uh-oh. If you're a Bills fan, I'm not sure how you're going to spin what happened last night against the Texans. Opening line being presented by Huel. What does a busy morning look like for you guys? How about skipping meals? Are you doing that? Well, this is a way where you don't have to skip meals. Yes, the prepackaged is sold right now in Target nationwide, or you can order the powder. The Black Edition protein powder is what I have. 2 flavors, chocolate and vanilla, 200 calorie or 400 calorie options for those shakes. 40 grams of plant-based protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no artificial sweeteners. It's gluten-free. It is vegan. Huel makes healthy eating simple, and you can get 15% off your first purchase, a $75 order minimum for new customers with the code BVB. Go to Huel.com/BVB. Huel, human fuel, with the promo code BVB. So Buffalo gets, in a lot of ways, it's a game they should have won last night. And I think if you are a Buffalo Bills fan, I think you now have to be aware that you are going to have to go through a wild card run. That you're now 2 games behind the Patriots, and the Patriots' schedule is really easy, and your schedule is not. Your schedule is going to work against you every step. Look at the schedule for the Buffalo Bills. This is going to be tough. They play at Pittsburgh. Okay. Their next game is at Pittsburgh, a game that Pittsburgh needs. They will play Cincinnati with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is going to be the quarterback of the Bengals in that game. That's not a W. Then they play at the Patriots. Okay. Patriots already beat them. Pats are at home. Then they play at Cleveland. After giving up 8 sacks yesterday, Cleveland's defense is going to feast unless they fix the offensive line in Buffalo in a hurry. That's a road game in December in Ohio. That is not a guaranteed W. Then they play against the Eagles at home. And if the Eagles need that game for the number 1 seed, if the Eagles need that game for the division, doubt it, but maybe, that's a game in which Philadelphia plays their best. That's on a guarantee. And then they play the Jets in the last game of the year. That's a win. I don't see more than 1 guaranteed win on this schedule for the Bills the rest of the way. 2, maybe? Could you see them losing out? No. Do I see them winning against Pittsburgh next week? I don't know. I think the entire year hinges on that game for the Bills. They're 7-4 right now. If the Bills lose, if they lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers next week, they're 7-5. They're 7-5. That's it. See you later. That's it. They've lost 6 straight games against Houston. They now haven't scored more than 20 points in any of those games. And I said yesterday that I thought the Bills were in the playoffs. I gave you those 4 teams, the final 4 teams of the AFC. Bills, Chiefs, the Texans, and who am I blanking on the 4th team that I was talking about? Oh, the Ravens. Those were your final 4 in the AFC, right? I thought the Ravens had a decent shot. The Chiefs are a coin flip, and the Texans aren't making it. Well, after last night, Davis Mills is 3-0. I mean, Mr. Longneck is playing right now. He's balling out. And the Texans defense is good enough to beat anybody if they play like that. How they stopped the run last night, except for a couple of big runs by James Cook. They really took care of the passing attack. More on that in a second. And then they beat the holy heck out of Josh Allen. I mean, Will Anderson, that sack from behind. And then I really thought that Josh Allen was seriously hurt after that sack. When he came up shaking his hand and he was rolling around in pain, I thought he had seriously been injured. Like he broke his wrist or he broke his shoulder or something was bad. And he popped up and he was okay. He ran off the field and whatnot. But Josh Allen is a tough SOB, but he got drilled by the Bills. I don't know. I'm sorry, by Will Anderson and the Texans. I don't know about the Bills right now. I mean, that's just being honest. I think when you're a Bills fan, you got dominated in a game in which you should have won. Like the missed extra point caused everything to be out of whack for the Bills. They were awful on 3rd down. They were giving up so many sacks in that game. And I mean, the Bills last night, they dressed 5 wide receivers last night. 5. Shakur was great. And that 4th and 27 conversion that they had with the hook and lateral was the best play of the night for the Bills. But the fact they had to do that is problematic. The fact they had to go for it on 4th down as much as they did, problematic. For a team that's wanting to contend for a Super Bowl, problematic. You have, if you're a Bills fan, you have to wonder what exactly is going on in the locker room. Because the Keon Coleman situation is a canary in the coal mine. He keeps on getting benched, and they need him to be out there. And he keeps on getting benched by the coaching staff. He was a healthy scratch in week 11. He was a healthy scratch last night in week 12. The Bills' defense is another big issue. They have the 2nd worst rush defense in the NFL, only behind the Giants, and they did a halfway decent job last night on the Texans' running attack. But they have a -2 turnover margin. Josh Allen is getting hammered way too much. He's banged up now after this game. and he's thrown 9 interceptions. 9 interceptions. Like, that can't happen. You can't keep on hurting your team consistently. And a big reason why is the offensive line is awful. 8 sacks last night for 70 yards of lost yardage for the Buffalo Bills. So the Patriots play a game where they are 7.5-point favorites up against the Bengals on Sunday. If they win that game, they're going to 10-2, where the Bills are 7-4. The Patriots play the Giants at home. If they play the Giants the way they're supposed to at home, they'll win that game and be 11-2 rather, going to their bye week. After the bye week, they play the Bills at home. The Patriots haven't had a hat and t-shirt game in 5 years. 2021 was the last time they had a hat and t-shirt game. The game out of the bye will be a hat and t-shirt game. What's that? You play to clinch the division. That you will have a chance to win the division well before week 14, 15, and 16, 17 or 18. Like, Patriots will clinch and they will get a chance to play for the number 1 seed with a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way. Now, granted, the NFL is built for this, right? The topsy-turvy nature. This is what the NFL wants, where you get good and you're playing a last place schedule. And the Bills are playing a first place schedule, the same way the Chiefs are playing a first place schedule, same way the Ravens are playing a first place schedule. So you can call the Patriots fool's gold all you want, and you can have all of this ranting and raving about what's going on with the Patriots and not buying New England, and I'm fine with it. You can call out the Patriots all you want and say that it's not real. Everything you're watching is Fugazi. I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me that that's going on because the Patriots are way ahead of schedule. But that doesn't excuse or explain what's going on with Sean McDermott in Buffalo and Josh Allen and how it really feels like their window has closed. The Chiefs' window is closing as well, but the Chiefs' window has come with multiple championships. So the Chiefs, you could say, well, they're going through it and they're going to have to change the way they're built and the contracts, and Travis Kelce is going to retire, and that's going to free up a ton of money that they can then go and assert that to other parts of the team. And that's true. So the Chiefs aren't done in my mind, but their current window, the current run with Reed, Kelce, and Mahomes, that's over. Okay, that's done. The Bills have never tasted that rarefied air. The Bills franchise has never won a championship. And this was supposed to be the coach and quarterback combination that was going to do it. The thing that Jim Kelly couldn't do, right? Win a championship. It's not happening. It's not happening. And now the rest of the AFC, the other teams, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Patriots, they've now all reconstituted, and they all have young quarterbacks with very good head coaches. And the mountain to climb to the top is going to be far more difficult. And I haven't even mentioned Lamar Jackson. Okay. The 2-time MVP of the league. You have to get through them, right? It was just trying to get through first. Like, let's just get through the Chiefs, and the Bills couldn't do it. Well, now that line of teams you have to get through has gotten longer and deeper and more talented. And I think if you're a Bills fan, you have to come to the rationale that you dominated this division while the Patriots were down, and it didn't lead to anything. Not an AFC championship, not a Super Bowl championship. You didn't win anything in this window, and you had a shot. And the reason was Patrick Mahomes. First reason was Tom Brady. Second reason is Patrick Mahomes. The third reason could very well be Drake May, which is premature. I'll give you that. That's an early comment. Okay. But I just don't think, if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, I don't think you wake up this morning and you expect your team to do anything this year. And you don't expect your team, if you miss the postseason, I don't think Bills fans would be that surprised given how poorly they have played against the Dolphins, now against the Texans, against the Patriots. I mean, heck, go back and look at the first game of the year, right? They were lucky to win that game. That was a fortunate, freaky, unbelievable 41-40 win against the Ravens. That was more Baltimore than Buffalo to have them win that game. So I think if we're all looking at this and watching how this season has gone, it's been a lot of down and not a lot of up for the Buffalo Bills. So I think if you're a Bills fan, I don't know if firing Sean McDermott is going to solve anything. I don't know if that's the play you should make by firing a guy who has been a pretty good head coach. But the expectations with a Josh Allen-led team have been Super Bowl or bust. And with the down year for the Chiefs, this was the year for the Buffalo Bills. And it simply has not happened. That was a really poor performance last night. That was a really bad loss. And the division's gone. Like, see you later. Division's gone. The question's going to be the wild card. Question's all going to hinge around whether or not the Buffalo Bills can get into the postseason by winning a wild card. And look, we're getting at least one wild card out of the West. You know that's happening, right? We have to sort of see how the rest of the North plays out. So could there be one wild card out of the North, either the Steelers or the Ravens? I think the answer to that would be yes. Okay. So now there's one spot left, and that could come down to Kansas City or Jacksonville or the Bills. Now you might laugh at Jacksonville, but that schedule for the Jacksonville Jaguars is not bad. Okay. So could there be 3 teams out of the West make the postseason? I think it's really possible. There could be one team out of the AFC East that makes the postseason. One. And if you had said there's only one team making it out of the East, 99% in September of people who watch the NFL would have said the Buffalo Bills. And the fact that it's not Buffalo, that could cost Sean McDermott his job. That is possible. I don't think he gets fired, but I think it's possible. Brendan's asking, has McDermott ever accomplished anything as a coach? Yes. Yes. He has won the AFC East. That's an accomplishment. Winning your division, that's the first goal of any team that starts a season. Win your division, win your conference, win the Super Bowl. That's the pecking order. So yes, he has accomplished something, but nothing compared to what the expectation level was with a quarterback like Josh Allen, that most people who watch the game have put him in the category of one of the top 5 best quarterbacks of this era. He is a force. So when you have a top 5 player at the number 1 position in sports, you would expect to have gone and played for championships. And the Bills have not. The Bills have not. So this has been an opinion for a lot of people that McDermott has to go. Is it his fault? I don't know if it's his fault, but there's clearly problems. Okay. When you have a wide receiver that you need because you're playing a stout defense and you can't get this guy to behave and follow the rules, Keon Coleman is just sort of a symptom of a larger problem going on in Buffalo. Is it a reflection of the head coach? Sometimes it can be, yes. So that could, again, if they miss the playoffs, I think Sean McDermott probably will be fired. And that will be, and he'll get a head coaching job again. I mean, I think he's got a track record that people would want. And I think he will coach in the NFL again if he wants to. But if he is fired, the question becomes Josh Allen. And what happens next with Josh Allen? And what happens next with a brand new stadium they're opening up in Buffalo with, again, the expectation extremely high. And Buffalo Bills fans hate the Patriots, rightfully so. And the fact that a team with a first-year head coach, a second-year quarterback, a rookie running back, and a rookie left tackle has changed everything for that division and flipped it back to how it was for 20 years. There's a lot of PTSD. There's a lot of PTSD going on here with this team and their fan base as to what happened for the better part of 20 years. There was one thing that happened last night, and this is, we touched on it already. Sorry, Addison, I'm not trying to pour on you. Other than the football game last night, the most significant thing that happened was that we're dealing with more issues here with F1 in Las Vegas. It's not a good thing at all. And if you are a fan of F1, another problem with practice. Red flags in practice again. Second practice session for the Grand Prix that will happen tomorrow night here in Las Vegas. Got red flagged twice last night because of loose maintenance covers near turn 17. And this is not just something that is a problem. This is dangerous. This can kill somebody. We're talking about cars going nearly 200 miles per hour here. And if they rip past a maintenance cover, and remember, they run on city streets. These are not racetrack streets, okay? This is something that they run cabs and Ubers and just general stuff. This is not run the way an F1 track or a NASCAR track would be paved. And so you do have the potential for problems. The amount of rain, as I talked about the Open, the amount of rain that has fallen here in Las Vegas is equally problematic because, well, the drainage system and everything else that's going on. Yeah, Addison writes, someone's going to get hurt or worse. Yep, I agree. So I don't know what happens tonight with practice, with qualifying. So I want to make a bet on the race just because I'm going to stay up on Saturday night. I'm going to stay up to watch it, and I want to watch it. I think it's all on TV. It's phenomenal. Okay. On television, the F1 track and the F1 look is amazing. So if I'm somebody sitting in Miami or Paris or somebody who's an F1 fan and I'm watching it, I'm like, holy crap, look at the sphere, look at the strip, look at the track. You get the overall drone shot of the entire track and how it's all lit up. It looks awesome. I mean, I went to the F1 arcade in Boston. The simulators are incredible. I mean, they're incredible. They're so fun. We have the F1 arcade here in town. I haven't gone to it yet. I'm going to go to it and take Madeline after we get back from Thanksgiving to go and, just drive the car. It's super fun. But this is in real life, on the ground. In reality, it doesn't work. It's been riddled with problems. It's been riddled with financial implications for the local economy that hasn't worked. It hasn't been embraced. It hasn't been loved. I saw last night that you can stay at the Flamingo for $98, and they will give you an F1 ticket to watch from the Flamingo, to watch from an up deck for $35. Now, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. $35. I would pay that. I even thought about paying. Now, you got to be staying at the Flamingo. It's part of the deal. But for a package deal where you stay on the strip and you get a ticket to view the race for less than $150, that's a great deal. That's an unbelievable price. When this thing was running 3 years ago, when it first started 2 years ago, this is the third year running it, you couldn't get a viewing spot for $200. They were going to the bars and they were taking black covering and covering up the windows for the different restaurants and bars that were on the strip, saying, if you want to watch the race, you got to pay us. That pissed off people to no end. That infuriated the market. Like, what do you mean? You come in here using our streets, you're using our tax dollars, and you're going to turn around and tell us that these bars that pay obscene amounts of rent and restaurants that are trying to operate in a tough economy, you're going to black out their windows, or you're going to build structures so they can't see the race? Like, that just set everybody off on the wrong foot. Instead of coming here and embracing the market and understanding what they were going to do and not acting all hoity-toity and saying, like, we're F1, you're going to bow down and do what we say. I've seen it before. It was the exact same attitude when the NBA showed up in Huntsville, Alabama for the NBA. It used to be called the D League. It was the NBA DL, the NBA Development League. They showed up and they tried to push around everybody in Huntsville. And everybody in Huntsville said, we don't care about you. We don't need you. And it turned the entire market off. And eventually the Huntsville flight flew out and left. And then the G League became a thing. And now they've got in different marketplaces, and they have a much different model and a much different attitude than when they went to the South, to places like Charleston, South Carolina. And they went to where were the Low Gators? There were two teams in South. Columbus, Georgia had a team, and they went into a region of college football fans, and they said, we're the NBA. You're going to be lucky to have us. And the markets were like, yeah, we don't care. Goodbye. Get out of here. And F1 is dealing with the same thing. You walked in and like, we're F1. And Las Vegas went, yeah. And what? Do you think you're special? Do you think this is something we haven't seen before? Do you think that we haven't put on major events? Do you think we haven't had the convention business on lock in America for the better part of 30 years? We know how to do events, and we can do it right. But you can't turn and piss everybody off because you're wanting to do things that just aren't right. You can't turn everybody away by acting like you should be charging obscene amounts of money for everything. And then people come in and you got the high rollers. The reason why F1 is here, and you can justify it through the numbers, the high rollers that are huge F1 fans come to Vegas and they gamble like crazy. It's not like Monaco, but it's kind of similar to that, is that they want the high rollers. Well, the problem is you've pissed off the entire city to come in and get like 200 people. Now, those 200 people represent billions of dollars. So if you're the Bellagio, if you're Wynn, if you are Resort World, or if you're a high end, the Fontainebleau, if you're after the high end super whale, F1's the best thing that's ever happened. If you're a dealer in a high limit room, the F1 race being here is the best thing that's ever happened to you. You're pulling down thousands of dollars a night in tips, right? But it only impacts a small number of people. And while the revenue generated by MGM, Caesars, by Wynn, by these big companies, because their luxury properties are full here in town, the greater overall opinion around F1 is we don't want it anymore. We want you to go somewhere else. Will they? I don't know. But there's a lot of people that just don't like. I'm not going to call them carpetbaggers because it's not the same. It's not apples to apples, but it's a similar type of thing. People that come into a market and start demanding millions of dollars and start changing the way people's lives go every single time the F1 folks break ground, starting to move around different roads and shutting down lanes and building structures, ripping out trees, all the things that they did here in Vegas to make the race happen. People who live here year round say, you guys pack up and you go on to the next spot and you don't look back. While we live here, this is our house, our neighborhood. This is our backyard. You guys are coming in and doing all of this and barely saying thank you and not making our lives better. You're making our lives less. Okay. So that's the problem when it comes to F1 and the overall future. And again, I wanted in this segment, we were going to have Jonathan Green on, who is the broadcaster, the PA voice of F1, because I wanted to ask him these questions about what's going on. Now, I don't know if someone told him, hey, by the way, Matt's not an F1 guy, which is possible, but Jonathan Massengale, his co-host, is someone I've known for a long time for the Speed City podcast that they do. And so I wanted to get his take on what the future of this F1 race will be here in Las Vegas, because I'm not sure it's going to be here long term. I'm not sure we're going to be in bed with F1 for much longer here in Vegas. It's unfortunate. It could have worked. It just didn't work the way that it went down. And now the safety issues on the road. The other stuff is bad enough, but the actual racing, if the actual racing can't happen, look, I have no idea what the tires will do if it's raining here in Vegas tomorrow night. I don't know. That feels like it will be a slip and slide, and it's going to be really bad. That's just, I could be wrong, but Like it's raining right now hard enough that I can hear it falling on my roof, and I'm downstairs. Okay. So there we go. Oh, Newby, I forgot to send you the link. That's my bad. Hold on. That's totally my fault. He's like, hey, can you send me a link? Yeah, dude, that's my fault. I forgot to send you the link. Sorry on that. That's my bad on that. So yeah, because Newby's going to join us here in a couple minutes. That's my fault. Let's do a fight song Friday while we wait for Newby to check in. All right, on a fight song Friday, let's get into it. Biggest game of the weekend, arguably. Oklahoma hosting Missouri. It's going to be a barn burner. Missouri is catching 7.5 to Oklahoma. I've seen quite a bit of people taking Missouri here to be able to run the football effectively enough against Oklahoma. I'm not touching this game because I bet against Oklahoma last week and I was dead wrong. I clearly don't see OU well at the moment. If I were going to bet this, I would take Missouri plus the points. I'd want 8, but I don't know. This could be a big letdown spot. OU goes on the road to Alabama. They get a massive win. They're in the playoffs. Everyone's singing the praises. John Mateer and company. Everyone's loving on OU. Here comes Missouri. Missouri's played 2 road games all year. Kind of a weird schedule for them. This is their 3rd road game all year for Mizzou. Catching 8. I think they run the ball effectively enough to keep the game close. I'm not betting it, but if I was going to, I would take the plus 8. USC and Oregon, the number's 9.5 or 10. I think this is a blowout. I'm not even going to play a fight song for this. I think it's Oregon all day long. I'm not taking USC on the road. No way. BYU in Cincinnati. Numbers 2.5. BYU better win by 10 or more. They got to prove themselves. Cincy's been up and down all year. But BYU, everyone's looking for a reason to keep them out, including the Utah AD who's on the committee now. So BYU, got to win. Got to win. Got to show out. Got to show some people that you're actually going to be able to win big road games. Florida is at home against Tennessee. I have no idea what to do with this game. I have no idea. This is a crazy game. Florida wins, game goes under. Tennessee wins, game goes over. But you're going to get maximum effort. I mean, even with the fact that you fired Billy Napier, Florida players, you hate Tennessee. Go Gators. Cheering for Florida. Have no idea whether it's going to be Florida or not. How about Penn State? Penn State. I think Penn State's going to kill Nebraska. I think Penn State, after what they did at home, and the fact that we got one of the best drops that we'll ever be able to ever have from an audio standpoint, with just a unbelievable, or wow, wow. It's just too good. It's just too good. How can you not like that? It's too good. Wow. It's phenomenal. It's unbelievable. So, I mean, Penn State's going to roll Nebraska. I'm calling it. I think Penn State kills them. I think Penn State's running game, Nebraska's going to have no answer. No answer. That Penn State defense, I think it's going to eat. Going to eat. Give me Penn State. Lay the 7.5. 10-point win or bigger for that. It's going to happen. I love that we have these now, though. It's just fun. It's just fun that we have these now. StreamYard pisses me off with a lot of things, but that's actually a pretty good addition that StreamYard has made. They've actually given us the ability to have a soundboard. And then finally tonight, the ninth island. Oh no, did it freeze? Oh, it froze. See, this is what happens. You get too aggressive and it freezes. It froze on me, so I can't play it. We'll get to it after that, but I can't. Oh wait, can I play it? I think I can play it.
Newby, or not Newby.
It's frozen, but it's frozen enough that I actually can hit. I can hit it. It's frozen.
It was frozen, but it was frozen enough that it worked. That's a good way to be frozen.
I can hit it. They told me that this doesn't happen, but it absolutely happens where I can't do it. He is the one and only Dan Alexander Newby joining us here on BBB. How are you, buddy? Good to see you.
There's few things more useless than the StreamYard customer support. I know. If you like 100%. AI answers, StreamYard support is for you. Dude, all is good, man. All is good. Things worked out for us. We had our our usual go Pats and go Eagles check in, and it worked out well for us. Not so sure how well it'll work out for at least my side of the equation this weekend, but we'll see. We'll see.
So you guys got the Jags right. You came on here last week and still on a table. I questioned it, and the Jags are out there and dominated. Are the Jags a playoff team in your mind?
Are they a playoff team? I mean, they're winning games right now. Tough thing is that they're looking up at the Colts in their division. I don't think that they're going to leapfrog them. So I'll tell you what, if they're a playoff team, I would be very excited about that as a Patriots fan. If that's the team I get to travel to New England, I would much rather have them than the Chiefs sneaking in or having to host the Ravens. In my opinion, they're fine. You know what I mean? Like part of how we've been able to cash in on Jacksonville is actually these past 3 weeks, we bet on them, bet against them, bet on them. Like they're a team that you pick your spots with. And actually this week is a week that I'm going to be fading them against the Arizona Cardinals. So that's a long way to answer. I don't really care if they're a playoff team. They're not going to be a winning playoff team. Let's put it that way. If they're in the playoffs, great, but they're not getting out of the first round.
Yeah, I think what's and you just pointed out a really good way of betting, because I've been doing that with the Raiders. So I've been doing this Raiders podcast every week. And so I've had to like really sit down and break down the Raider games way more than I would have in the past. And I've done really well with betting on or against the Raiders. And so like my favorite play all year was the Cowboys last week. And I went 6-0 in that game because I've watched enough of the Raiders going like, okay, they're going to get annihilated here by the Dallas Cowboys. And it happened. And I look at it this week with the Browns, and I know I've given the stat, everyone's saying the stat. A rookie quarterback starting for the Browns is 0-17 in his first career start. So this has been since 1999. No one has ever won a game. Shedeur Sanders is trying to make history here by doing it. I'm not so sure the Browns win, but how do you feel about the Browns and the Raiders? Because I think the Browns keep it close.
That's one of my favorite plays of the week, because I think the exact same thing. Okay, since 1990, no quarterback has won. Okay, whatever. That's great for the first take shows of the world, right? But as bettors, like that means nothing to me because in my opinion, do I think Shedeur Sanders is particularly good? No, I do not. But at his absolute worst, Matt, he is only just as bad as Dylan Gabriel, and they won games with Dylan Gabriel. You know, that's the way that I look at it. And if you're looking at Shedeur Sanders getting his first start, I mean, I'm sure you saw, no reps with the first team, whatever. Last week he was thrust in against a divisional opponent who needs games like blood right now. And the Browns, it kind of is what it is. But luckily, he's going to get to helm up this 31st ranked offense, which is near bottom of the league. Luckily, on the same exact sideline sitting with him, Matt, is the second ranked defense in the league. So if he can just be as passable as Dylan Gabriel, which I think he can be, 4 is a crazy number. 3.5 is a crazy number. The right number in this game, Matt, would be the Raiders 1 or pick them. 1.5 would be the correct number in my mind. So I think getting over a field goal with the better defense, and if there was a prop bet, do I want the field or the Cleveland Browns defense to score more? I think the question is which defense scores in this game, because I think it's probably going to be the defense who's facing the guy who leads the league in turnovers and is the second ranked defense. So I like Browns defensive special teams touchdown, and I like the Browns to cover. I don't know if I'm going to be as bold. This is one of the dogs that I haven't sprinkled the money line on, but I grabbed that 4 while it was still there. This line should be 1, and I'm glad you agree on that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, I took it at 4, and then it came back down. So I have a number that's a little bit better than what's in the market at the moment, but I over a field goal is a must. And I think I'm hoping that there's not going to be any turnovers like that, because I think the under at 36.5 equally comes in, because I don't think the Browns offense is going to score very much with Shedeur, and I don't trust Geno Smith to do anything. The offensive line for this Raider team is atrocious. If I could bet on 2 props, which would be Myles Garrett to have a sack and to have Max Crosby have a sack, I think both defenses eat the quarterbacks in that game. And so I like 3.5. I like the under. It's not going to be an enjoyable game to watch, but I think it's a good game to bet. I think there's a couple of good things you can jump in on that. You mentioned that you're not too high on your Eagles. I would agree with this. I'm on the Cowboys at plus 3.5 in this game. Do you think your team could lose?
See, that's where this is one of the ones. Again, this is I like it when we're aligned, Matt, because it's either going to be a really good weekend for us or a really bad weekend for us. This is one of the ones where I sprinkled the money line. And yes, you can go to the historical stuff where it's Dak Prescott against the NFC East. Say what you want about the Cowboys. Say what you want about Dak Prescott. When it's NFC East opponents, they haven't lost a home divisional game since 2017 with Dak Prescott under center. I mean, you can't ignore that. You can't ignore the fact that with Dak Prescott, they're 21-2 against the NFC East at home. That you just can't ignore it. And where there's smoke, there's fire, in my opinion. And do I think that the Eagles' offensive woes are as blown up as maybe the media has made them out to be? I don't. I think that there is a path where they can get right. But I'm thinking that get right spot, Matt, is coming next week against the Bears. In a perfect world, to me, the Eagles lose this game outright because it doesn't hurt them in the division. And with all the tiebreakers they have, it doesn't really hurt them for a bye in the playoffs as well. So this is the slap in the face that you need to get beat up by a divisional opponent. I wouldn't hate if that happened, and I'm an Eagles fan. So ideal world for me, they lose this game to Dallas, and the Chicago Bears beat up on the Steelers. I don't think that part of the equation happens as much. It's probably a field goal win, but if they win by 10 or more and we can get that 7 look-ahead line down to 6.5, one of my biggest bets on the season will be the Eagles against the Bears. That is the offensive get-right game. That is the game that Caleb Williams is going to be an absolute hell. If we get under 7, it'll still be a 2-unit play. Matt, I'm thinking of like a 5-unit play on the Eagles against the Bears. I really, really think that is the one circled spot for me of that's where the Eagles offense wakes up.
You're wearing your championship hat, so I'm wearing my championship.
That looks good.
It
looks beautiful.
It's a Celtics though. It's not.
I like that layout though. I will say, out of all the championship hats, that's the damn good one. This rope edition, they miss a lot. This is a pretty damn good lid.
Can't do the rope though. I like the hat.
You don't like the ropes?
Rope hats
aren't for you.
I'm 48 years
like
old.
Them. It makes me feel like I'm a sailor. It makes me feel like I'm a captain on a boat. You know?
Yeah, that's true. It is a nautical look to do the rope hat. So okay, so do you think the Steelers are a playoff team? Because if Pittsburgh loses and the Ravens win, which you have to assume the Ravens are going to win.
Yeah. 13.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I mean, they're massive favorites this week. So the Ravens win. If the Steelers lose to the Bears, well, now we got to tie at the division, and it's danger time here for Pittsburgh, given the injury to Rodgers and what's happened with their roster. So do you like the Bears outright?
I will say, I don't really know if the injury to Rodgers is the worst thing in the world. Like Mason Rudolph, he's not great, but he's certainly capable. And also, Mason Rudolph, maybe it's the last name or not, the dude is on fire in December. So if they need him come December, Rudolph with your nose so bright, lead him to the playoffs.
There we go. I knew there was.
I do think that the Bears, and again, maybe this is a little bit hope. I do think they could potentially win this game, because the thing is with this Steelers defense, it's so hard to predict how they're going to look, and also the age of this roster, the age of that defense really starts to stack itself up. But if you want to know the thoughts of potentially a playoff run here for the Pittsburgh Steelers, all you had to look at was when the Ravens were 1-5 and they were still, what was it, like plus 190 to win the division?
Yeah.
I don't think really the Steelers really ever had a shot at winning this division. Jumping out to the lead made it seem like that. But the Ravens are in, slog mode right now. Ugly win last week, but they get the win against that Cleveland defense. I will say this week, I wouldn't bet that game. I wouldn't take 2.5 is a perfect number. It's going to be right around that 3. I'm not a believer in the Bears though either. So that's why that was an easy pass for me. I lean with the Bears simply because they're at home, but I actually think Mason Rudolph maybe gives this team a little bit of juice because you look around that sideline. It's not like Aaron Rodgers is really inspiring confidence on that offensive side of the ball. Just watch the body language of the players.
So I love the Friday move when the limits open and you start watching these numbers. Yesterday we were talking to Adam Bjorn from BetCris Arizona, and he said the number one most heavily bet game on their board, Patriots Bengals. All the pros were laying 6.5, and when it got to 8, they were burying on the Bengals. Well, today, major move. We're down to 6.5 now for the Patriots. The pros are gobbling up all the points that they can take with Joe Flacco and company against the Patriots. How do you feel about the Bengals at home, knowing Joe Burrow will play next week?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. So is it confirmed? Do we know if it's Joe Burrow or Joe Flacco? Because I know the latest that I saw is it's potentially going to be Burrow as early as this Sunday. So is that what we're
the line move would tell you that Burrow could be playing.
But here's what I don't get is why would boatloads of money be coming just because a guy who, even when he's been in, it's been, we keep games close. We get, there really hasn't been outside of that Super Bowl season, the modicum of success with Joe Burrow under center. And it's going to be his first action against a really scrappy and one of the more underrated defenses in the league. They have a good pass rush. Cincinnati still, whether it's Joe Burrow or Joe Flacco, they don't have much of an offensive line. And Jamar Chase does his best Jalen Carter impression. Hawks a loogie. He's not going to be playing because he did it after the game instead of the first snap of the game. If you're going to spit early is the key there. So personally for me, man, I still lean with New England. I hate this number, a 7-point road favorite, but I wouldn't be rushing to the counter to say, Joe Burrow's back. Joe Burrow's back. I don't know how much that gives you because, yes, Cincinnati wasn't winning games, but that's because of their defense. Does Joe Burrow play on that defense?
Right.
This is a Drake May props over. This is your chance where if Drake May, after that drop-off that you saw from Josh Allen last night, this is the potential stat padding, I'm an MVP candidate kind of game that you've been waiting for Drake May. So Burrow or not, over. Give me over. All I had to do is sweet talk Drake May and it gets the Eagles lit out. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, you're gonna take my team. I'll support yours. So you go ahead and push.
I tease New England down. I would be surprised if Cincinnati, even with Joe Burrow back, wins this game outright. So this would be a teaser leg for me.
100%.
New England, all they do is win, guys. All New England's done is win. I can keep trying to bash them. I can keep trying to fade them. It hasn't worked out.
I think what also is interesting about this game from a Patriot perspective is that I actually kind of want Joe Burrow to play because we've seen so much love in the media that if Joe Burrow comes back in, it might lock these young guys in to be like, okay, hold on a second. Burrow's playing. Like, we got to be a little bit on our P's and Q's here. We can't we're not going to walk into Cincinnati with Joe Flacco and go ahead and win this game and win our 9th game in a row. Burrow coming back changes the dynamic. So I guarantee it changes the coaching staff and the way that they're going to approach the game when they see an MVP caliber quarterback go back there and play. And look at the record for the Bengals with Joe Burrow versus without Joe Burrow is ridiculous. So I do think the Patriots win regardless. The offensive line's a huge problem. I'll give it to you, but I actually kind of want him to play because I do think these younger Patriot players are going to be like, okay, we got to go out there and really ball because we don't want to stop this momentum and all the love that's being shown. You lose on the road to Cincinnati, it does take the shine off a bit because of the loss to the Bills last night. Bills are 7-4. The Patriots win this game on Sunday. They go to 10-2. They'll beat the Giants next week. They're 11-2 going to their bye, and the division is pretty much theirs. Then the 1 seed comes into question as to whether or not the whole playoffs goes through New England. So I kind of want Joe Burrow to play. If you guys are watching live, I can't fire the thing because it's all frozen. But if you guys are watching live, stay tuned. Bonus time starts on the other side. If you guys are on Sports Grid, thank you for being here. Back on Monday to recap the whole weekend. Bonus time starts now. Okay, Sunday night, the Rams hosting the Bucks. This is another game in which we get Baker Mayfield as a big dog. How could we not take Tampa here to go after losing by 12? They pushed my teaser. I teased them up to 12 last week against the Bills. They gave up 44 points to Buffalo, 28 points to the Patriots. Can they fix this defense in time for this game to keep it close?
Yeah, the worry for me in this one, because this was one that right away I was like, man, that line's really long here on Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay, if it weren't for the final stop that happened with that Bills defense, they would have been covered again. Also, I don't like how Todd Bowles just waves the white flag. You know what I mean? Like there was time you saw Baker Mayfield. He was incredulous. He was like, I'm not going back out on the field. We're really kneeing this one out. I get it. You live to fight another day. I wouldn't love that out of my head coach personally. If there's time on the clock, I want to try and come back, especially you've seen Baker have how many comebacks. Right. Now, what got me off of this, it would be if I'm playing this game, I'm taking the points. What worries me is you're seeing some notable offshores already up to 7.5 in this one. I always like paying attention to the injury reports, especially with the Bucks. I think they're underreporting. It looks to me like there's something wrong with Baker, like top half. It looks like it's a shoulder. Yep. It might be the non-throwing shoulder, but he doesn't look comfortable in his throwing motion. And then this week, I think it was 4 or 5 different players. Mika Ibuka was one of them. Baker was one of them. Obviously, Bucky Irving's already not playing. They were listed 2 days as non-participants due to illness. And this is the time of year that actually means something to me. I mean, even if you're not going to be playing 100% against that Rams defense, I don't love that. So that's what got me off of it. I would only take the points, but that illness through the locker room, that worries me a little bit because if 4 guys got sick, then 5, then 6, then 7, game day, who's to say that this team isn't, 65% or better? I mean, at this point, nobody's 100%, but you get the point there, Matt, is that this is one I want to watch. I only lean. I don't think the LA Rams really have it in them to cover 7.5 points. Look at all of these competitive games. People act like that game last week against the Seahawks was some big stamp of approval on the Rams. 4 interceptions for Sam Darnold, and they still needed a game-missing field goal to win the game. You know what I mean? So I think the Rams' love is getting a little bit overblown. Yes, they are good. Yes, they are one of the top teams in the NFC. But laying over a touchdown, an extra point, and a hook, that's crazy to me against a team like Tampa Bay who can sling it.
Yeah, I need Tampa to win because my biggest preseason bet was Tampa to win the division. And I know the Michael Penix thing kind of crosses off the Falcons and whatnot, but it's getting a little dicey here with the Bucks. They're starting to swoon here. I'm getting a little nervous about where they are from a wins and loss perspective. So I would love to see them win the game outright against the Rams, but losing to the Patriots was surprising.
And also, if you think about Baker Mayfield, this dude was ready to retire, and then that move where he goes to LA and he had 2 days to study the playbook. He comes in and he wins the game and wins the game outright. So I also think, it's just fodder. It's just anecdotal, but going back to the spot that reinvigorated the love for the game, I think you could see a really nice Baker Mayfield. I'm looking for, even though he's banged up, I think you might be getting some decent numbers. Baker Mayfield touchdown prop. Definitely one that I'm going to be hitting over his passing touchdowns is what I mean. And also, he hasn't really been running it much, but this feels like, hey, we got to get a win any way that we can, even if he's banged up. Since he hasn't run it much, his longest rush is always a pretty low number. I might sprinkle a unit and a half on that because I think this is going to be a Baker Mayfield all hands on deck. Hey, guys, remember a month ago, I was in the MVP conversation too. All
right, last game I want to talk about is my favorite bet of the weekend. I think KC is going to take care of business against Indianapolis, and I don't care about the trends. I don't care about the stats. I don't care about what everyone's saying about the Colts and the fact that the Colts have had success against Mahomes and company. They're 5-5, and they play the Dallas Cowboys a week from today or yesterday on Thanksgiving. Short week for them on the road, prime time, must-win spot for the Dallas Cowboys. If we're right about Dallas against Philadelphia, the Cowboys go into that game with a whole lot of momentum, a new defense, and an offense that can score on anybody. And it's a holiday for a football team that's got a lot of guys with family, and it's a big distraction day for a lot of teams. They got to beat the Colts. Like, they got to take the Colts and pound them. And I think Daniel Jones might be in for a rough afternoon. How do you feel about KC, Indianapolis?
Yeah, and Matt, I'm kind of with you. A lot of the time you talk about trends, you talk about stats, you talk about numbers. Okay, Colts coming off a bye. Oh, it's terrific. Well, one stat that does matter to me, how about, I know Andy Reid well as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and I also know Andy Reid as a head coach when his teams are around or below 500. Because much of his tenure as the Philadelphia Eagles, they would always start out bad, they would get on a roll, and they would be around that 500 number. Because he's had such a long, successful career, you have a big pool of data. Andy Reid is a master motivator, guys. When his teams are 500 or below, how about this one? Made my eyes pop out of my head, Matt. 74-49 straight up.
Wow.
When Andy Reid's teams are 500 or below, that number against the spread, 80-47-1. Nearly double the wins, double the covers when his team is at 500 or below. And
Hold on. I'm stealing that stat. They're 80-47-1
against the spread in Andy Reid's career when his team is at 500 or lower.
And that includes the Eagles' tenure.
That includes his entire career, his entire coaching career.
Wow. That's a hell of a stat.
And you pair it with a Colts team who, when was the last time that the Colts got to come out of a bye fat and happy? When was the last time the Colts came out of a bye and they were saying, we're leading the division? We have a running back who's in the MVP conversation. It's been a long time. Peyton Manning ain't running out of that tunnel. It's Daniel Jones running out of that tunnel. And say what you will about, trends that matter, trends that don't matter. Colts under Shane Steichen, when it's a head coaching trend and an in-division trend, I think they actually matter. They have a home divisional game next weekend. So this is a game, they're coming out of the bye. They're feeling great. Chiefs are sitting at below 500. In games before home divisional games under Shane Steichen, 1-5 straight up, 1-5 against the number. I don't think the Colts come out here flying around and jazzed up. I'm right there with you. This is one of my favorite bets of the weekend. And you want another stat that you can steal, Matt? How about this one? Going back to 1990. Let the line lead the way, folks, because going back to 1990, teams who are at 500 or worse favored against a winning opponent and a very good winning opponent, 80% or better. Yeah. 14-0 straight up, 12-0-2 against the number. There's a reason the Chiefs are favored. There's a reason why the idiots on ESPN were saying the Colts must be favored in this game, huh? The Colts better be favored in this game. I wonder why your sports book didn't work out, jackasses. Yeah, lay the 3.5 with Kansas City.
It's funny because that was from Evan Abrams from Action Network, and it basically cinched it for me when I saw that. I was like, oh, this is perfect because it does tell you, and it's a great line, that let the line lead you to the window, because it is true. Why are the Chiefs favored? Oh, they're the Chiefs. Well, yeah, but there's another reason why they're favored too, is because in this spot, this is going to be normally a difficult space. And look, Arrowhead, it's an educated fan base. They're smart. They're football people. They know the importance of this game. They know what Jonathan Taylor can do. They know that Daniel Jones historically on the road has not been a good quarterback, and you can get after him. We've seen him have a 6 turnover game already this season. So it can happen for them.
And Matt, one thing that I would mention too is this is really one of the first kind of, I would argue, true road games for this team. And what do I mean by that? Obviously, it's late in the season. They've gone on the road. Well, the first time they had to was against the Titans. Are we worried about going to the Titans? No. Then they go to the Rams. They end up losing that game against the Rams. They beat the Chargers. As I told you last week, I don't think that's all impressive. They go to the Steelers. They lose to the Steelers on the road. And now you're on the road in Arrowhead out of a bye after you just beat your division team after traveling overseas. I just think I don't see how the Colts quite get up to the level that the Chiefs will have to be at in this game. And we laid it out there with Andy Reid. year over year, his entire career, these are the spots where he kind of shines. So one thing I want to mention too, Matt, I heard you talking about that Mizzou and Oklahoma game. I did just see pop across my screen here. Bo Prabula upgraded to available on Saturday. Does that change how you're looking, the quarterback from Mizzou at all?
I like Missouri even better. Yeah, I mean that's grab it now. grab the number before it moves. If he's going to play, there's not going to be an 8 in the marketplace. And the move this morning went from 8 to 7. So I mean that tells me again, just like the NFL move, somebody somewhere knows something. So they're betting who's available and who's not.
6.5 now.
Before I let you go, how are you guys doing for Circa? Because there's a guy who is on pace to set the record for the best Circa Millions mark ever in terms of the games that he's Potato Kamish, who I went back and forth with yesterday on Twitter trying to get him on the show. And he was like, I'm not talking to anybody until February. I'm like, I don't blame you because
he's like a pitcher.
Like I'm not talking to anybody because he keeps on, he's been ridiculous with his record. I think he only has 14 picks wrong through week 11. How are you guys doing? And is it frustrating when you see a guy out there, lapping the field?
Yeah, I don't know if we're really going to be able to catch up on Potato Nish this year. I mean, insane what he's doing right now. Can he keep it up? That's the question. For us, we're right around, what is it, like 58%? I believe we're 31-23, and we had our first push last weekend. We're happy with it. We wanted to obviously be alive for some of the quarterly prizes, but Adam and I's goal was, hey, let's try and get around 58% or better, and we're right around that line. I love the card for this week. So just so on the way out, Detroit, we laid the 10. It's just number one, we got the nice number. Now it's 13.5 because Dart isn't going to be playing. But this is just one of those cases that every time that they've come off of a loss, we've been on them. And it's 13-0. Like everybody knows that trend. It's one that's already baked into the line. It doesn't really matter as much. But when you have a trend like that, you bet it until it loses. Once it loses, you go back and bet it again. If you lose twice on it, guess what? You have 2 losing bets after you cashed 13 in a row. So that was just the no-brainer for us throwing Detroit on there. Laid the 3.5 with Kansas City. We took the 3 points with Arizona. I'm playing them money line too. I think they beat the Jags outright. Cleveland getting the 4 against Las Vegas, and then the last one for us was Dallas getting the 3.5 against Philadelphia.
Going against your team. Look at the fan hedge.
Well, I'll tell you what, and it's funny, and I mentioned this on the show, and who knows, maybe I'll be wrong here. I'll knock on wood. Eagles have played 10 games this year, Matt. I am 10-0 in picking Eagles games, and they have not covered every single game. I cashed in on a money line. I told bet them the money line against the Denver Broncos. I also called them outright loss against the Giants. So yes, I love my birds, but while I wear the Homer hat, I don't bet with the Homer hat, Matt. Amen. So I think this could be the kind of slap in the face that they need there. So putting the 10-0 record on the line.
Addison wants a F1 pick from you before you go. Do you have one?
Cars go vroom. They will go very fast. I couldn't name. Is Max Verstappen still racing? Does he race?
Yes.
Give me Max Verstappen podium. I don't know.
I think I saw minus 140
very fast
for a top 3 finish for Verstappen. Was minus 140.
Give me Verstappen.
Sounds good. Newby, you're the best. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Have a good one, Matt. Thanks, buddy.
He is Dan Alexander Newby joining us here on the Bostonian versus the book. Every Friday we get him on the program. I'm sorry that everything froze on me for this because we were going to do different things, but I can't do what I normally do on this stuff. So I'll put the line tap back on for Daniel G on this stuff. Let's fire Chef Benny. Thank you. I agree. Don't be a bum. Hit the thumb. If you have not hit a thumb, hit subscribe. Do that as well. Thank you, Mikey. Awesome. You guys less bummy to do that. Bums, welcome. Hit the thumb too. Good job. JPC, Nueby and Peralt, great discussion on Friday. It's chalky, but Montgomery anytime touchdown is minus 115. It's happening. He somehow got only 6 carries last week, so he'll be fed on Sunday. 2 touchdowns is plus 500, also worth a sprinkle. Okay, I like that thought. That's a decent thought to come in and do that. Appreciate that. I can't fire anything, which is so ridiculous when everything freezes. I don't understand why it freezes, but even when I go back out and I come back in, I can't do that. So that's somewhat of a frustration point for this. So I apologize for that, but I will give you guys some plays for the weekend before we're on the way out. Just the Picks is being brought to you by Betting Pros' prop bet cheat sheets. I can't put the thing up on the screen, but you guys can go and check out the prop bet cheat sheet by going to bettingpros.com/props or downloading the Betting Pros app. Daily prop value rankings based on projections. NBA and NFL prop bet cheat sheets have been both extremely profitable this year. For tonight, I'm taking UNLV -2.5. I know Hawaii is 7-2 ATS. This is the 9th island. This is going to be a full house. There's going to be so many people who are going to be at Allegiant Stadium for this football game, but I like the offense for UNLV tonight to be able to move the football on Hawaii. Both teams are 4-2 in the Mountain West Conference. I'm taking the home team by less than a field goal. Give me UNLV tonight at -2.5. I'm laying a big number with Utah. Utah's only failed to cover 2 games so far, and they've been ruining people recently. They're at home. It's an extremely tough place to play in Salt Lake City, and I don't like K-State at all this year. I'm laying a big number, but I think the Utes, big win for Utah over Kansas State. They put up a number. They send a message with that -17. They win the game by 20+. I like Penn State -7.5 against Nebraska. I don't think the Huskers can stop the running attack for Penn State. We saw it up against Indiana. They're fighting hard. They're playing hard. Nebraska is a team that Penn State fans always want to beat. I'll lay the 7.5, even though I'd rather lay 7. We'll lay it with Penn State -7.5 up against Nebraska. I will take Florida at +4 here at home against Tennessee, because I do think they're going to play hard here against the Volunteers, but that's a game that's a little bit on the shakier side for me. NFL games for Sunday. Kansas City laying 3. Just broke it down with Newby. I like the Chiefs. It's my favorite bet of the weekend for the NFL. KC -3. Find the 3, not the 3.5. I want KC -3 at home. Newby's stat is crazy. 80, 47, and 7 for Andy Reid against the number when his team is 500 or worse. That's amazing. I like Dallas +3.5. As we talked about, I think this is a huge game for the defense, huge game for the offense. Philly and Dallas played a tough game early in the year, won by Philadelphia. I think Dallas returns the favor. I like Dallas money line, but I'll take Philadelphia. I'll take the points against Philadelphia. Dallas +3.5. Seattle laying 13 against Tennessee. The NFC West has dominated, and this team under Mike McDonald, for whatever reason, in the Central Time Zone and Eastern Time Zone, Seattle goes to work. They play extremely well, focused. I like Seattle in a bounce back spot here to get a big W. Seattle lays 13. I think they cover it. I want under 14, but I'll take Seattle. And I like the under for the Browns and the Raiders, under 36.5 here. I think this is going to be a very low scoring game. We talked about it with Newby. I think you can play the Browns +4, but I also like the under 36.5 here with just not a lot of offense up against from the Raiders against this great defense for the Browns. And frankly, I cannot trust Shedeur Sanders to go and score consistently against even a bad Raider offense, or bad Raider defense, rather. I can't trust that offense with Shedeur Sanders as to what we saw in his first, even though it was only a little. I like the under 36.5 for the Browns and the Raiders. So I was going to get into some things, but let's see. Can I put it on the screen? I can't do the news of the industry liner because it's frozen, but I can put this up on the screen. Get ready for this. And we'll talk about this more next week, but I've been talking about Congress getting more and more involved with sports and sports gambling. It's already happening. Congress is asking for a response from Major League Baseball as to why they did not catch the gambling scandal involving 2 pitchers from the Guardians in Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase. The answer is not easy. The answer is not simple. And, well, if you think that Congress is not going to have a large answer or statement to sports and sports betting soon, I think you're wrong. I think we're going to see it, and we're going to see it issues. Well, I thought it was frozen. In terms of a lot of problems that Congress feels like they have to step in to fix when it comes to sports betting and game fixing, prop bet fixing. It's not good. It's not good at all. We don't want them involved. The prediction marketplace rush, we talked about it yesterday, but it is about to become a full-blown reality We are about to see a flood of advertising from the prediction market companies. If there is not a major court ruling in the next 6 months, you are going to see a massive amount of marketing dollars spent as the rush to acquire customers in California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida will be immense. This is going to be like a political campaign. If you live in those states, you're going to see a ton of advertising pour into those states. If you are just watching national broadcast in sports, you're going to see a ton come in. And I think that will also cause the federal government to get involved with marketing the same way they've gotten involved with DFS, the same way they've gotten involved with tobacco, the same way they've gotten involved with alcohol. They're going to put parameters, they're going to put limitations on the industry in the very near future. I'm not in support of it. I don't like it, but I think it's going to happen. I think it's 100% going to happen, and I wish I was wrong, but I think it's going to happen. The chat, you guys are funny. So we will do a lot during the weekend to get the store ready to go. Hopefully at some point in the very near future, we will have conversations. Monday's show on the Discord channel, I will tell you the exact start time for Monday's show. There's a very good chance the show is going to start at noon Eastern, an hour early on Monday. Okay. I'm on a plane, so it would be 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern is when the show would start on Monday. That's probably going to be an earlier show than normal because I'm on a plane at 2 o'clock back to Boston Pacific time. So Monday is going to be earlier than normal. Tuesday's show will be normal. Wednesday's show will be normal. No show Thursday, no show Friday. Okay. So just FYI, that's how we're going to go. So Monday's show is going to be early, but exact time to be determined. Be on the Discord channel. I will tell you, if you guys haven't gotten on the Discord channel, you can do so by going to thebbbshow.com. Come on over. We hang out, watch games together. It's fun. Free. So go to that link. That's the show website. And then you can go ahead and click the link to the Discord channel to join. So early start Monday, normal 1 o'clock Eastern time start for the show on Tuesday, but I'll be in New Hampshire. And then Wednesday live from New Hampshire as well. For us, we'll be on the East Coast. And then Thursday, Friday off. I fly back to Vegas on Saturday. And so I will be there on Monday. We'll be back here in studio in Vegas coming up for that. So my thanks to Newby for coming on in. Great stuff with him. Thanks to Corbin for helping me set up the store and do everything that he is doing. And thanks to you guys in the brigade for being here. Have a great weekend. Appreciate you guys being here. Back on Monday for another episode of BVB.